Hello, my name is Mr. Clark and welcome to the West Dunbartonshire Learning Campus, and depending when you're tuning in, good morning, good afternoon, good evening or good night. Now it's great to see you. I'm going to be helping you with maths, and I'm going to help you knock maths right out of the park. Now we're going to start today with this up here, place value. Foundation of all maths and one of the most important things that we learn. Now I'm going to back up here with a wee bit of a history lesson for you. You're going, oh, history, it's cool. I found this quite interesting when I found it out for the first time. Now obviously years and years and years ago, I'm talking thousands of years ago, there was other number systems in place long before our number system came in place. If you think about it, there was Romans, they had the Roman numeral system. You had the Greeks who used symbols, Egyptians used hieroglyphics. Everybody was doing different things until it was decided we need to bring it all together into one system, because suddenly all across the world people were talking more, people were trading and buying and selling, and we can't have everybody doing different things. So what happened was our number system became the one that was used, and it's called the decimal number system. Now, if you think of the first three letters, D-E-C, of the word decimal, dec. If you think of other words that you know, you think of the words decade. Decade is 10 years. If you also think, okay, decagon is a 10-sided shape. So our number system revolves around the number 10. Now, when you went into primary one, you learned, the first numbers you learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then at that point, next number after that was 10. Now you wrote 10 differently though, because it had two digits. It had a 1 and it also had a 0. Now that's because what happens is when you've got a group of 10, it no longer becomes 10 units, it becomes 110 and 0 units. So I've drawn on my board here all my place value, and you'll see I've got a little dot. I've got some other things I'll talk about in a wee second, but I've got my units, you've probably heard of, tens, hundreds and thousands. So as I said, if I have 9, add one more, it becomes the number 10. 0 units, 110. Now when I have, and the same happens with my tens, I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Once I get 90 and add on another 10, it becomes 100. And this works all the way up through our number system. And what then happens, I'm just going to jump it around, is that every time we move up, it multiplies by 10. So once you've got 10 units, it becomes a 10. 10 times 10 makes 100. 10 times 100 makes 1,000. 10 times 100 makes tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions, 100 millions, and go up, 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 up as we go. Now, what I've also got here is I've got tenths. Tenths are smaller. Now, you've probably learned about tenths when you've learned about fractions at some point. So that's when you take maybe a whole, something whole, like a cake, and you chop it into 10 pieces. It's no longer a whole piece. And the same with hundreds. That's when you take that whole thing and you chop it into 100 little bits. So it's getting divided up instead of multiplied. So it's going the opposite way. So we're going to start off, I'm going to just write a wee number. So I'm going to start in my units. I've got 7 units there. I've got 6 there. And I've got 3 there. But I've said that incorrectly. So actually what I've got is I've got 7 units. I've got 6 tens, also known as 60, and I've got 300 there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to partition this, and that means write down and show how much each of these numbers is worth. So I'm going to draw a little line down. As I said, that was worth 7 units, so I'll just write a 7. I'll draw another little line. You'll notice that I take one number per box, no more. I've got 60 in my tens, and I've got 300 there, so it's 367. Now that still works as I go further up again. So if I write that digit there, 4, it's not actually a 4 because it's in the thousands column. So that actually number is 4,000. And the same works when we go into our fractions bit. So if I put a little decimal points are a little dividing line. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put 0.47. Now, if you want to think of it another way, think of that as money. £4,367. How much money I don't have in my bank account right now. And we know that this is my tens column, so we will write that as 4 tenths, or 0 for 0 units and 4 tenths. Now I can do the same for my final bit here. This is 7 and it's in my hundreds column, so I can write 7 out of 100 or 0.0 tenths, but 7 hundredths. Now I'm going to do a part 2 video and we're going to take this a little step further, but there are some questions that you can now go and tackle. Catch you later, kiddos.